They told you that eating before bed makes you gain weight, that nighttime calories automatically become stored fat, that the only way to lose belly fat after 60 is through grueling exercise and severe calorie restriction. But what if I told you there's one specific ingredient? Just one spoonful, consumed 30 minutes before bed. That activates your body's overnight fat-burning mechanisms, specifically targeting dangerous belly fat, and works even if you're 70, 80, or older, with a slow metabolism. And metabolism researchers have known this secret for years, but the weight loss industry doesn't want you to know because it's too simple and too inexpensive. If you're over 60 and want to stay strong, healthy, and look younger, this video is for you. Why? Because while diet companies are selling you meal replacement shakes, fat burner pills, and complicated programs that don't work, this single spoonful works with your body's natural nighttime hormones to shift your metabolism from fat storage to fat burning during the exact hours you're sleeping. And if you're over 60, your metabolism has fundamentally changed. And what worked for weight loss at 30 or 40 doesn't work anymore, especially for that stubborn belly fat that increases disease risk and makes you look older. To Gren, I'm going to reveal exactly what this fat-burning ingredient is, why consuming it before bed activates hormones that specifically target visceral belly fat, and the exact amount and timing that produces visible results within 2 to 3 weeks. Stay with me until the end because I'll give you the precise recipe, the best type to use, and the one critical mistake that turns this fat burner into fat storage. But before I reveal the nighttime ingredient that could finally eliminate your stubborn belly fat, if you're serious about losing weight in a way that works with your aging metabolism instead of against it, smash that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel for daily evidence-based strategies that prioritize hormonal health and metabolic optimization over outdated calorie counting approaches. And comment below, have you struggled to lose belly fat no matter what you try? Let's talk about why traditional weight loss advice fails after 60. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth about belly fat and metabolism after 60 that the diet industry ignores. Belly fat, especially visceral fat that surrounds your organs, is not just cosmetic. It's metabolically active tissue that produces inflammatory compounds, disrupts hormone balance, increases insulin resistance, and dramatically raises your risk of heart disease, diabetes, stroke, and even dementia. After 60, belly fat accumulates more easily and becomes harder to lose because of hormonal changes. Growth hormone production, which peaks during sleep and is your body's most powerful fat-burning hormone, declines by 50% or more. Your cortisol rhythm becomes dysregulated, with evening cortisol staying elevated, which promotes fat storage, especially around the midsection. Your insulin sensitivity decreases, meaning carbohydrates are more likely to be stored as fat rather than burned for energy. And your resting metabolic rate slows, meaning you burn fewer calories even at rest. But here's what most people don't understand about fat burning and sleep. Your body has two distinct metabolic states. During the day, when you're eating and active, your body primarily burns glucose for energy. At night, during the fasted state of sleep, your body should shift to burning stored fat for energy, a process called lipolysis. This is when growth hormone peaks, triggering the breakdown of fat cells and releasing fatty acids into the bloodstream to be burned by your liver and muscles. But this overnight fat burning only happens optimally when certain conditions are met. Your insulin must be low, your growth hormone must be elevated, and your cells must have the specific nutrients needed to efficiently burn fat rather than store it. The problem is, most people over 60 eat in ways that prevent this overnight fat burning. They eat high carbohydrate dinners that keep insulin elevated for hours. They go to bed with elevated blood sugar. Their growth hormone release is blunted, and their cells lack the nutrients needed for optimal fat metabolism. The result is that even while sleeping and fasting for 8 hours, they're not burning fat efficiently. Their metabolism is stuck in storage mode rather than burning mode. So what's the one spoonful you consume before bed that flips your metabolism from fat storage to fat burning overnight? My top recommendation for patients struggling with belly fat and slow metabolism is scientifically proven, but surprisingly simple. 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in water. Now, before you think this sounds too simple or worry about taste, let me explain exactly why apple cider vinegar consumed before bed is one of the most powerful natural fat-burning interventions, and why it specifically targets belly fat during sleep. Apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid, a short-chain fatty acid with remarkable metabolic effects. When you consume acetic acid before bed, several critical things happen that shift your overnight metabolism toward fat burning. First, acetic acid improves insulin sensitivity and lowers blood glucose. Multiple studies show that consuming vinegar before bedtime reduces fasting blood glucose the next morning by 4% to 6%. This matters enormously because elevated fasting glucose indicates your metabolism stayed in sugar-burning mode overnight rather than shifting to fat-burning mode. By lowering blood glucose, apple cider vinegar ensures insulin drops to baseline levels during sleep, which is essential because insulin is the master fat storage hormone. When insulin is elevated, fat burning is blocked. When insulin is low, fat burning can proceed, but acetic acid does something even more powerful. It activates an enzyme called AMPK, AMP-activated protein kinase, often called the metabolic master switch. AMPK is like a cellular fuel gauge that senses energy status. When activated, AMPK signals your cells to burn fat for energy rather than store it. AMPK also enhances mitochondrial function, meaning your cells produce more energy from the fat they're burning. Studies show that acetic acid activation of AMPK increases fat oxidation, the process of breaking down fat molecules for energy, by up to 30%. This happens systemically throughout your body, but is particularly effective in visceral fat, the dangerous belly fat that's most metabolically active. Apple cider vinegar also improves the overnight release and effectiveness of growth hormone. Growth hormone is your body's most powerful fat-burning hormone, released primarily during the first few hours of deep sleep. Growth hormone signals fat cells to release stored fat and promotes the use of that fat for energy while preserving muscle mass. But growth hormone release is blunted when blood sugar is elevated. By lowering bedtime and overnight blood glucose, apple cider vinegar creates the optimal hormonal environment for growth hormone to peak and exert its fat-burning effects. Studies measuring growth hormone in people who consumed vinegar before bed show higher and more sustained growth hormone levels compared to controls. But here's where apple cider vinegar becomes specifically powerful for belly fat. Visceral belly fat is more insulin sensitive than subcutaneous fat under your skin. This means visceral fat responds more dramatically to changes in insulin levels. When you lower insulin with apple cider vinegar, visceral fat cells are the first to begin releasing stored fat into the bloodstream. The acetic acid also has been shown in studies to reduce the expression of genes in fat cells that promote fat storage while increasing expression of genes that promote fat breakdown. You're literally reprogramming your fat cells at the genetic level to burn rather than store. Apple cider vinegar also supports liver functions, which is critical for overnight fat burnings. Your liver is the primary site where fatty acids released from fat cells are oxidized for energy. The liver also produces ketones, alternative fuel molecules made from fat that your brain and body can use when glucose is low. Apple cider vinegar enhances liver enzyme activity involved in fat oxidation, making your liver more efficient at burning the fat released from storage. Studies show that people who consume vinegar regularly have improved liver fat metabolism markers and reduced liver fat accumulation, which is important because fatty liver is common after 60 and impairs overall metabolism. And there's a gut microbiome effect that contributes to fat loss. The acetic acid and other compounds in apple cider vinegar act as prebiotics, feeding beneficial bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. These beneficial bacteria have been shown to improve metabolism, reduce inflammation, and promote weight loss. Studies comparing gut microbiomes of people who consume vinegar regularly to those who don't show that vinegar consumers have more diverse, healthier microbiomes with bacteria associated with leanness rather than obesity. Now let's talk about what the actual research shows, because this is extensively studied. A landmark study published in the Journal of Functional Foods followed obese individuals who consumed apple cider vinegar daily for 12 weeks. The vinegar group lost significantly more weight, primarily from the abdominal region compared to controls. Body fat percentage decreased by an average of 1.8%, and waist circumference decreased by 1.4 centimeters. Importantly, the weight loss occurred without any changes to diet or exercise, just the addition of vinegar. The researchers concluded that acetic acid promotes fat loss through multiple mechanisms, including improved insulin sensitivity, increased fat oxidation, and reduced fat synthesis. Another study specifically looked at bedtime consumption of vinegar and its effects on morning fasting, glucose, and fat oxidation. Participants who consumed 2 tablespoons of vinegar before bed had significantly lower fasting glucose the next morning and showed increased markers of overnight fat oxidation compared to placebo. The researchers noted that the timing before bed was critical because it influenced the entire overnight metabolic period. A comprehensive review of vinegar studies in the journal Nutrients analyzed data from multiple trials and concluded that regular vinegar consumption, particularly before meals or at bedtime, promotes weight loss, reduces belly fat, improves insulin sensitivity, and enhances metabolic health. The effects were most pronounced in people with insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome, conditions that affect the majority of people over 60, my patients over 60, 70, even 80, who start taking 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in water 30 minutes before bed will report remarkably consistent results. Within the first week, they notice they wake up feeling lighter, less bloated. By 2 to 3 weeks, they start seeing visible reduction in belly size. By 2 to 3 months, the changes are dramatic. They tell me their clothes fit better, their energy improves, their blood sugar readings are better, and people comment that they look slimmer. And this is with just one simple addition to their nighttime routine. No diet changes, no increased exercise, just optimizing their overnight metabolism. Now here's exactly how to use apple cider vinegar for maximum belly fat burning. The most effective protocol is 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar with the mother, the cloudy sediment that contains beneficial enzymes and probiotics, diluted in 8 ounces of water, consumed 30 minutes before bed. The timing is critical. You want to drink it early enough that it lowers blood glucose before you sleep, but not so close to bedtime that the acidity disrupts sleep if you're prone to reflux. 30 minutes before bed is the sweet spot for most people. For dilution, always dilute vinegar in water. Never consume it undiluted, as the acidity can damage tooth enamel and irritate your esophagus. Mix 1 tablespoon in a full glass of water and drink it steadily. Not all at once. You can add a small amount of raw honey or stevia if the taste is too strong, but keep sweeteners minimal to avoid raising blood sugar. Some people add a pinch of cinnamon, which has additional insulin sensitizing effects and makes the drink more palatable. Start with 1 tablespoon. If you tolerate it well and want to maximize effects, you can increase to 2 tablespoons, but more is not necessarily better. Studies show benefits plateau around 2 tablespoons. And excessive vinegar can cause digestive discomfort or interfere with potassium levels. The type of apple cider vinegar matters. Choose raw, unfiltered, organic apple cider vinegar with the mother. Brands like Bragg's are widely available and affordable. Avoid clear, filtered vinegars that have been pasteurized, as they lack the beneficial enzymes and probiotics. The cloudy appearance indicates it's raw and contains the active compounds that provide metabolic benefits. You can enhance the effects by making other strategic nighttime choices. Avoid eating large meals within 3 hours of bedtime, as this keeps insulin elevated and interferes with growth hormone release. If you need a light snack, choose protein-based options, like a small amount of Greek yogurt or a few nuts, which won't spike insulin. Avoid alcohol close to bedtime, as it impairs growth hormone release and fat metabolism. Ensure you're getting adequate sleep, at least 7 to 8 hours, because that's when the fat-burning hormones do their work. And manage stress, as chronic stress elevates cortisol, which promotes belly fat storage, even if you're doing everything else right. One important consideration is dental health. Because vinegar is acidic, always drink it through a straw to minimize contact with teeth. And rinse your mouth with plain water after drinking it. Wait at least 30 minutes before brushing teeth, as brushing immediately after acidic exposure can damage softened enamel. If you have gastroesophageal reflux disease or ulcers, consult your doctor before starting apple cider vinegar, as the acidity may aggravate these conditions in some people. Though, interestingly, many people find vinegar actually improves reflux over time by increasing stomach acid production and improving digestion. If you're on medications, particularly insulin or diuretics, discuss with your doctor, as vinegar can enhance the effects of these medications and may require dosage adjustments. The cost is negligible. A bottle of quality apple cider vinegar costs about $5 to $8 and lasts for weeks. That's literally pennies per day for a natural fat-burning intervention that's backed by substantial scientific research. Compare that to fat burner supplements that cost $30 to $60 per month and often contain stimulants with side effects and questionable efficacy. So if you're over 60 and serious about finally losing stubborn belly fat, about optimizing your metabolism to burn fat overnight while you sleep, and about improving your metabolic health without restrictive diets or exhausting exercise, then starting tonight, mix 1 tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar with the mother in 8 ounces of water and drink it 30 minutes before bed. Do this every single night for at least 3 weeks and track your progress. Measure your waist circumference weekly. Notice how your clothes fit. Pay attention to your energy and how you feel when you wake up. Take before photos so you can see the objective changes. I'm confident you'll see visible reduction in belly fat and improvements in metabolic markers that prove your overnight metabolism has been optimized. If this gave you a simple, scientifically proven strategy to burn belly fat while you sleep, subscribe for more evidence-based protocols that work with your aging metabolism. Comment below. Are you ready to try the bedtime apple cider vinegar protocol? Let's build a community of seniors losing belly fat and improving metabolic health naturally.